Oh, yes.
Welcome back once again, everyone. Today, I am going to be doing a retrospective look at the entire first wave of Netflix's War for Cybertron trilogy Transformers figures. And I say first wave under the assumption that there will be more. And the reason I've come to that assumption is because during my Hound review, which I'll go ahead and put a card for that right up here right now, I put together all the little backdrop pieces, the 5 pieces that came with the deluxe toys, and found that the whole display was only half finished. There were 5 pieces, but there were still 5 connection points that weren't being utilized. So it's not unreasonable to assume that we're going to get at least one more full wave of these toys. Or possibly more than one wave, but maybe some repacks thrown in across. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. So this video is going to be kind of a 2-part thing. The first part is going to be the look back at what we have already, what just came out. And then the second part is going to be some speculation and predictions as far as what we're going to get in the future. Now, if you want an in-depth review of any one of these individual figures, this isn't the video for that. You're going to want to look back through the tour review playlist on my channel and look at each individual one if you really want to get in the nitty-gritty of each one. So I'm going to start this retrospective with establishing kind of what this toy line is and what it is not. So what this is, it's a tie-in action figure assortment to Netflix's first season of their War for Cybertron trilogy TV series. Right? These toys are all meant to market toward that, to coincide with that. Now, because their first season is basically their own telling of the plot of War for Cybertron Siege, which is the first chapter of the regular toy line, there's a lot of overlap there as far as character designs, the characters themselves, right? And because of that, this wave, or this subline, whatever you want to call it, includes numerous returning characters who are only marginally different from the first toys that we got in Siege. So what this line isn't, it's not a continuation or even a complement to the Siege toy line. It's really a parallel to it. It's like a different option. That's not saying there's not new stuff to find here, because we do have some original characters or new takes on characters. But there is going to be overlap because they are using the same cast of characters, more or less. So now, my overall reception of this wave has been a real mixed bag. Now, would I have preferred that these were all new figures, new characters, something more like a Wave 5 of Siege? Of course. As a collector, as somebody who went all in on Siege already and already has all these, I'm not crazy about buying the same stuff again. So, I do wish this was something it wasn't, but judging it for what it is, that's kind of what I want to lean toward. So this wave, it's a mixed assortment of returning characters, new characters, and then characters that are significantly altered from their original release. So starting with the deluxes, we have Scrapface, Sideswipe, Mirage, Hound, and Chromia. Now, Scrapface himself is a brand new character, like completely new to the Transformers mythos. He is a redeco of Refractor and has some sort of connection to the character. He's like some kind of clone, but he is new. The name's never been used before. He's just a guy doing his own thing. He's a Netflix OC, if you will. Do not steal. What is cool about him, though, and you already know this if you saw my review, he's actually an homage to a G.I. Joe character named Scrap Iron. He's a member of Cobra, a bad guy, so it makes sense that he'd be a Decepticon, and they share a very similar color palette. So it's just a neat little nod. So, kind of a twofold thing. New character, G.I. Joe reference for the very overlapping fan bases of Transformers and G.I. Joe. Looking at Mirage, Mirage did get a Siege toy, and it was, an Autobot, like he typically is, and it was done up in a standard, like, white and blue color scheme. This is a Decepticon version of him, in corresponding colors with the Decepticon faction symbol. And officially, at least according to the toy's listing, this is still a good guy. He's just going undercover. He's spying for the Autobots. Whether or not that holds true in the show, or if he, maybe starts as a con or defects or whatever, we'll have to wait and see. And that's where we kind of end on the relatively new stuff for the deluxes. Your Sideswipe, Hound, and Chromia are all characters from the first 2 waves of Siege, given some slightly modified paint jobs and re-released here. As such, they're probably going to shelf warm like crazy, in all honesty. Especially since the original Hound and Chromia were already pretty notorious shelf warmers. In fact, my local Walmart that is now pretty saturated with the Netflix stuff, when you look on the pegs for deluxes, it's like all Hound and Chromia and a couple of Sideswipes. And then if you look over to the left, there's regular Siege and there's a bunch of Hounds. No Chromias though. Chromia does seem to finally have sold down. But Hound, I think, was repacked in one of the later waves. Say wave 3, 4, something like that. So he's very saturated on those pegs, on those shelves, and I think it's going to create an issue for them. Now, why they chose these 3 specific characters to put out as action figures, I'm not sure. It could just be that they're very prominent characters in the show, and obviously you're going to want the main characters released. But from a marketing perspective, I don't know how well it's going to work because, again, Hound and Chromia were not good sellers. They just weren't. Which, personally, I think is a shame on Hound's part. I think it's a fantastic mold, but wasn't popular for whatever reason. Sideswipe, not so much. I wouldn't call him a shelf warmer. But we've also had 3 prior versions of this mold released. You had the standard Sideswipe, then you had Red Alert. It was a minor retool of him. And that toy didn't sell so great, probably because it was so similar. And then you did have the admittedly more obscure Generation 2 recolor. I guess I won't count that though, because that wasn't really on shelves. But I don't see Sideswipe like flying off the shelves anytime soon, because most people that were interested in picking up this character probably already have one version of this mold. So I want to say kind of a dud overall. I mean, just judging the reaction on the internet amongst, fan sites and all that, even my own comments, there's a lot more enthusiasm for Scrapface and the new Mirage than there is for any of the other 3. And I mean, it makes sense, right? These aren't very different from their original releases. Now, I think their executions vary a little bit. Sideswipe and Chromia, I feel, are higher effort toys than their originals. Not saying that one deco is necessarily better or worse than the other between original and Netflix, because everyone's going to have their own subjective taste. But admittedly, there's a lot more paint application. There's a lot more going on. Wouldn't surprise me if that's because of the influx of money from Netflix. They could do a little more with that. So I would say, at the very worst, they're just like lateral upgrades. You can go either way. The Hound toy, if you saw that review, I just hated it. For some reason, instead of being very creative, they just kind of gave him a bunch of gray plastic. Like, they just made half of his body and his vehicle though just this like dark gray color. It doesn't look like battle damage. It just looks like, I don't know, like somebody started sucking the color out of him. So I don't know what's going on there. Now, some of you might be saying, well, what about Magnus? And we'll get to him. Don't worry about that. So the deluxes, I would say, overall was a weak lineup. You had like 2 good ones that are going to sell well. The others probably just going to hold shelf space and prevent new waves from getting stocked. Now, moving on to the Voyagers, you had 1 returning character and then 1 new character. Now, the returning character is obviously Megatron here. This time he is done up with a very extensive paint application across most of his body. Kind of similar to what they've been doing with the Studio Series Megatrons, just this like silver paint wash over him, and I think it looks fantastic. And again, it's all going to be about your subjective taste as far as whether you prefer him or the regular version or the animation colors, but I will say that he, again, like Sideswipe and Chromia, seems to be a higher effort toy. There's just more paint on them. They got a little more creative with the application of it. And then Megatron himself, he came with 2 Battle Masters. who are actually Autobots. You have Lionizer, who's just a recolor of the regular Siege Lionizer. And then you have Pinpointer, who, while it's a reuse of a mold, he is a character we haven't received yet in Siege. So the Megatron pack, I think, will sell decently well. There are a lot of people that are going to double dip on this mold just because they think the paint's prettier, or they really want to get those Battle Masters, at the very least Pinpointer. And I predict a lot of regular Siege Megatrons going up on eBay real soon. They really kind of did a good job of sweetening the deal and tempting people to buy in again. Our new character, you have Hotlink, this purple Seeker. Not to be confused with Skywarp, the more commonly known purple Seeker. Now Hotlink, obviously, he's the same Seeker mold. He's the 8th use of it. That may play against him a bit, because a lot of people don't want to keep buying the same mold. But it does seem the interest in him is a bit higher than Megatron because he is a new character. It's also a very obscure character. There's only ever been one other Hotlink toy, and it was a convention exclusive, like an attendance exclusive. So very hard to get a hold of, commands very high prices on the aftermarket. So this is the first time most people can actually get a toy of this character. So I think that's very cool. I think he's probably going to fly off the shelves quite rapidly. And of course, Hotlink himself also comes with 2 Battle Masters. You have the twins here. You have Heatstroke and Heartburn. And you can really only differentiate them by their visor color. So these are also new characters. I wouldn't say very high demand new characters. They're just kind of along the lines of Trenchfoot, just like some guy that popped up out of nowhere and marginally different from his base mold. But they are at least something new, something to help flesh out your roster. And they also pull double duty as being an homage to Hotlink's use of flamethrowers, which unfortunately I failed to realize when I did his review. But that is what they're there for. So again, just kind of adds to the value of the $40 box that he comes in. And now lastly, Magnus, or more specifically, the spoiler box. And this thing sparked a lot of debate, a lot of contention. For anyone that doesn't know, this box was announced a few months back, and it was like a blind box. Came in this really cool ammo box type packaging, and they wouldn't tell you what was in it, even though it didn't take people very long to deduce at least what figures would come in there. And they also said like, oh, there's spoilers for the show inside. And that's true. There are some potential plot spoilers in there that are written in ancient Autobot font that you can only see by opening the box. But that doesn't really explain why they hid the figures from view. It doesn't really follow. Now, it could be that Magnus's color scheme is related to those plot spoilers. And I don't want to say what those are in case you don't want those ruined for you, but I'll go ahead and add a card linking to that review. So if you do want to find out what that is, you can watch that review. So his deco may or may not coincide with that, or he might just be, I don't know, overly gray like Hound. The verdict's still out because nobody's really confirmed either way. Now he does come with this new rung, who, we got a rung in Siege, and we're also getting another one in Earthrise, but this is done up in a very different color scheme. It's this clear, or mostly clear, pink color scheme, and he does have these new Fire Blast effects, little like Energon lightning stuff. So I guess it's supposed to be like a very Energon infused rung, and his official name is Battlefield Rung. So again, that may be a plot spoiler. I'm hoping that isn't just like something they made up and it's never actually going to pan out in the show, because that'll be lame. Then you can see these Energon cubes here, which came as part of like the other gimmick of the box, is that you got this black, basically black Play-Doh that they called a compound, and you dig through it and you can find these Energon cubes, which was such a weird random thing to throw into a Transformers toy, but they did it. They gave you black Play-Doh and Energon cubes. So, the box sparked a lot of discontent from people who were really disappointed by what ended up being inside. Admittedly, I think some people set their expectations a little too high, but even some of the more reasonable conjectures about what was in there were shot down, so c'est la vie. Oh well. So having looked at each one of these, I want to talk about kind of the total package of what you're getting. So knowing, or I guess, believing that this is one wave as opposed to the entire subline, it actually makes a lot more sense as far as what we got. It's very similar in layout to a full War for Cybertron or Generations wave of recent years anyway. We have 5 deluxes, which is a normal amount of deluxes to get in a wave. It's usually around 4 or 5. Got 2 new Voyagers. We got 1 leader, which a lot of these waves, especially like in Siege, they tend to pack a new leader toy with a returning one. So you're usually only getting 1 new leader per wave, and this pans out. Now there's not a repacked toy, obviously, in this one, but as far as new stuff you're getting, it's very similar. Siege and War for Cybertron, they tend to have a mix of 2-3 Battle Masters per wave and a few Micro Masters. We're getting 5 Battle Masters here, so again, comes to be about the same. And you're generally getting a better deal for each one of these purchases than you do the standard stuff. In the case of the deluxes, you do get this backdrop piece, which, while it's not a mind-blowing addition, it is more than you got in Siege. As far as the Voyagers, they come in boxes that are $40, but each one has 2 Battle Masters, which run $6 a piece, so you're saving about $2 per pack. Not a lot, but at least it's not more expensive. And then for the spoiler box, you have a $50 leader, a $6 Battle Master, but then you also get like the really premium packaging, which admittedly does drive the price up. There's quite a bit there. And then you get like the black Play-Doh stuff, the Energon cubes, which, while maybe unnecessary, it is more that you're getting. So I think it's very much a good deal for what is all in there. So yeah, at the end of the day, this is a fully fleshed out wave of War for Cybertron toys with a slightly better value really than what you normally pay. So looking at it that way and looking at what it's supposed to be, I think it succeeds quite well overall. Really, the only thing I could fault this for is just that god-awful Hound redeco. Just, why, guys? Why? You dropped the ball so hard on that one. But I think that wraps up the look back at what we have. Now I want to look forward and just kind of speculate what I think will likely come in the future, and then talk a little bit about like what I want to see, and then maybe even go to like some really out there stuff that I don't think is going to happen but would love. So what I think will happen is we're going to get one more wave of these with at least 5 more deluxes. Just judging by the number of empty connection points on their little diorama thing. It'll probably be very heavy on the returning characters like this wave was, considering that it seems most of the cast of this new season, this new trilogy, seem to take from the first few waves of Siege, right? So I could see, a Prowl and Ironhide, stuff that's not very exciting to somebody who already went through Siege. I think it's inevitable. You're probably gonna get a battle damaged Ironhide toy. We might get a Ratchet, which will be the first time he's available at general retail. But if they're gonna go with Ratchet, I hope they do something very different with him. Maybe give him like the Marvel color scheme instead. I don't know. I don't think I've seen a voice actor for Ratchet though. Very good possibility we'll get Red Alert, because he does have a voice actor listed for the show, which would suck because we just got that mold. If Sidesight shelf warms, Red Alert's just going to be even worse. What else could we get? Hopefully not an Autobot Mirage. We already got one. Please don't give us another one. That's such overkill. I just expect to see a lot of returning characters. I would say based on this, you'll probably get 3 returning characters and then 2 new redecos. Whether that be new characters like Scrapface or just interesting, flip the script moments like Mirage here. I think it'll be just very similar to this wave. I wouldn't expect any of the more out there Siege toys like Spinister or Crosshairs to show up. Just probably not going to happen. Now, with the Voyagers, I'm almost positive we're going to get an Optimus Prime. He is arguably the main character of the show. he's like the flagship character of the brand, right? People see Optimus Prime, they know Transformers. And, they released a Megatron, so the odds are within this toy line, we're going to get an Optimus. And it's just probably going to be a shinier redeco of the Siege Optimus. I'm going to be very disappointed, but not at all surprised. I don't see them not doing it. I won't be really happy that I got to, go in on another Siege Optimus to complete the set, but unless they do something really crazy, like maybe give him like the dead gray color scheme, it's like a spoiler or something, that'd be pretty cool. I'd buy that. They could do like a Nemesis Prime, though I don't know if Takara would allow that to happen because they just released one. I don't know. It's probably just going to be a more metallic looking Optimus toy, and I'm going to hate that it exists. But hopefully it'll follow suit, come with some new Battle Masters that might give us characters that we're missing. We'll just have to wait and see. As far as the other toy, not really sure what they would do. Judging by this pattern, that might be a new character. They could go the easy route and just do another Seeker, right? Use the same mold, save themselves a lot of money, and just make it like another one of the welcoming committee, right? We could still get Nacelle, Bitstream. I can definitely see Sunstorm happening because he is a very popular character. A lot of people know who Sunstorm is, so he would sell very well, probably more so than Hotlink. And he'll probably come with 2 Battle Masters too. So that's, if I had to guess, that's probably where they're going to go. I hope they don't give us a Seeker we already have. Like, if they do a slightly redecoed Starscream, I'm legitimately going to be pissed. Like, please. I mean, you've used this mold so many times, at least make it a new character. But, I don't know, I'll have to wait and see on that one. I hope we get at least one new Voyager. Now, as far as a leader class toy, I don't know if that's going to happen. They already did the spoiler box thing once. I don't think they'll do it again, especially once they see the very likely backlash from this first one. And since we didn't get a standard leader size release, I don't know if they're going to go that route. So, might get a new leader, might not. As far as available molds, there's really only 3. There's this one, which I already did, so it's probably not going to be a Magnus mold. Sorry for everybody that wants Delta Magnus, but again, as much as I like it as an idea, I don't see it happening. So man, that blue inner robot would be sweet, right? Whole power convoy look. So kind of hope I'm wrong there. They got the Galaxy upgrade Optimus, which I don't see them doing for this cartoon show. So then that really only leaves Shockwave, and oh, do I not want them to put Shockwave out again. That thing clogged all the shelves at all the stores. I mean, it was so hard to find an Ultra Magnus or an Astro Train or anything because it was just Shockwaves everywhere. The toy did not sell worth a damn. Had to go on deep clearance in places just to get rid of them. Please God, do not release a slightly modified Shockwave because it won't sell. Nobody's going to pay $50 for that toy. The people that were already willing to do it already did, and they're not going to do it again. Except, this idiot right here that's talking to you because God knows I got to do it, make a review. So, I see Shockwave as the most likely candidate for another leader, and that terrifies me. Because it's just no, please no. Alright, so that's everything I see happening in all likelihood, just based on current trends. As far as things I want to see that aren't too crazy out there, I already pointed out that there's a good possibility there'll be at least 1 or 2 more, new characters from existing molds in the deluxe side of things. As far as what characters those are, hard to say. Maybe we'll get a Tiger Trax out of Sideswipe. That'd be a lot more exciting than a Red Alert. Detritus from Hound would be really cool. Though with this mold's track record, I don't know if they'll do it. Do we want to put a 3rd version out there? I don't know. I could definitely see the Chromia mold being redone as a new female character just to flesh out the number of fembots that we have. So I can see that. I can see that being the original character right there. Some new female Transformer. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. All stuff that could happen, I think. Fairly possible. As far as the Voyagers, I don't really, there's not a whole lot they can do with them that hasn't already been done. More Seekers, obviously, could always happen. They don't want to overdo it because mold fatigue is a thing. But if they did one more Seeker, I think that's fine. That's a good idea. I mean, what was there to choose from? You had the Soundwave mold, which there did Soundwave, did Sound Blaster, so I don't see them doing that again. As, you know, anything new. I mean, I can totally see them redecoing Soundwave. Ugh, no. Don't give us some more battle damage Soundwave. Springer mold, meh. I can see them going a little nuts and making him a Drift. Some people have pointed that out. Springer and Drift do share some similarities with their helmet design and stuff. So a triple changing Drift would be like an interesting cross homage between his Generation 1 version and his movie version. I could see that. I would be down for that. That'd be creative. Hope somebody's listening. Hasbro, listen to me. Listen to me. Let's see. Beyond that, that's really it for the Voyager molds, right? Because a lot of it was just Seekers. So yeah, I see at least one new Seeker, and then maybe Springer done up as something interesting. Leader, I guess just Powered Convoy or Delta Magnus. That's the only thing within the realm of likeliness that I could maybe see them doing, though I don't know if they're going to reuse the Ultra Magnus mold again. I don't want a Shockwave redeco. Ooh, unless maybe they do Six Shot, like the Energon Six Shot. I could see it. I might buy that. And then the Galaxy Prime, I don't know what you could make him into, other than just maybe give him like the black and red color scheme from the second Cybertron toy. So yeah, so those are my hopefuls. And now for my really out there stuff that I really don't see is really just new molds. This line so far has just been all straight redecos of existing molds, barring I guess the new lightning effects on Rung. So I don't see it happening, but it could. There could maybe possibly be some concepts, some prototypes that just went unused. One that really comes to mind is Alita 1. The design that they used for her in both the IDW comics, the new ones, and the TV show, it's the same design, but it's one that hasn't been used for any toy in existence yet. It's completely original, but it does look like it could be a functional design of some sort. That might be something that ended up on the back burner, because it's weird that it's so consistently designed that way despite not having a toy. If they're going to drop that on us, that'd be so cool. Get a new Alita design, something a little closer to her standard appearance, because I know a lot of people didn't like the Power of the Prime's Alita. Personally, I like her for what she is, but I get how she doesn't really scratch that itch for the G1 fans. So if that came out, that would be fantastic. Barring that, though, I couldn't even guess, right? I mean, who knows what else is out there? Maybe a Bumblebee, because Bumblebee is very prominently featured in this show. And he's arguably the other main character, because of course he is. But again, that won't be out there. If anything, I mean, it's speculated that there's going to be an Earthrise B, or at least a, War for Cybertron Chapter 3B. I don't know if they would pull a mold from, like, down the way, pull it forward, but maybe. Really, I don't know what they're going to do. Even going up to the higher price points, that on that scale, Voyager and Leader, I really don't see a new mold materializing. They're just, I think the odds of that are pretty much nil. So maybe the next best thing you can hope for is heavy retools. Maybe some unused gang molded parts, new head retools, things like that. And those do crop up from time to time. A good example is Power of the Prime's Inferno, right? He was a new head retool of the Hotspot toy that never got used in Combiner Wars, and then 2 toy lines later, they ended up actually producing a toy. So maybe there's something out there that uses, the Megatron mold or Magnus mold or something as a base. That would be interesting to see it. And this would be a good time to kind of dust those unused mold plates off and, have at it, go for it. But who knows? Who knows? That is really out there stuff. And again, it seems really beyond the scope of this line. Of course, I'm happy to be pleasantly surprised. I would love to be wrong about that and for them to just really shock us with Wave 2. But I want to reel in my expectations a little bit, just based on what we've seen so far. And I think that really just about covers everything. Shared my thoughts on what we have, gave my thoughts on what I think will come and what I wish would, but won't hold my breath for. So here, I just kind of leave it off to you. How do your thoughts compare to, what I put out, both on the existing first wave and then anything in the future? Do you have any ideas for new characters or redecos or anything like that that I haven't thought of? So I'm sure there's ones I'm just not thinking of, and I would definitely love ideas in the comment section. If you enjoyed this look back at the first wave of Netflix's new toy line for War for Cybertron, make sure to toss a like, let YouTube know you want to see stuff like this. If you do want to see more stuff like this, or any of my reviews or discussion videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this little sit down as I just share a whole bunch of thoughts about this new toy line, this new subline from Netflix. And with all that said, I will see you next time.